It's fall, and that means pumpkins. But the weather might have affected this season's pumpkin crop. How a local farm had a successful crop this season.
The City of Kent and Kent State University held their third annual Rainbow Weekend this last weekend. How the city celebrated the LGBTQ+ community.
Threats from the north are the main concern for Israel right now. What are the latest developments on the northern border in the conflict between Israel and Palestine?
And Dolly Parton is looking to perform for a special cause at a Thanksgiving Day football game. Find out which game it will be on your 6 o'clock newscast.
This is TV2 News.
Evening in Portage County, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nuried Hurtado.
And I'm Dom O'Brien.
We start our coverage tonight right here in Portage County.
That's right. Our own Erin Sullivan was at Dussel Farms in Brimfield today to talk to farmers about this season's pumpkin crop. Hi, Erin.
Hi guys, absolutely. Well, after a dry summer, a lot of farmers across the U.S. say their pumpkin crop this fall was severely impacted. So I paid Dussel Farms a quick visit to see if Portage County farmers felt the same way.
Fall is here in Portage County, and Dussel Farms in Brimfield is at the peak of their busy season. With just Halloween 2 weeks away, the farm's customers are stocking up on locally grown pumpkins. But not every farm was so lucky this harvest season.
This fall, farmers across the country have said the dry heat this summer has significantly impacted their pumpkin crop. But in Northeast Ohio, for little guys like this, it was perfect.
This year's crop seemed to do fairly well. Pumpkins like warm weather and sun. They don't do well when it's real wet. So they did great during that two dry spells we had.
Linda Dussel, a co-founder of Dussel Farms, says here in Northeast Ohio, the dry climate was perfect. But they weren't always so lucky each year.
It's a real wet, you're not going to get very many pumpkins, and we've had wet summers. And the crop, gets affected, but it's typically regional. So if this area gets a lot of rain, hopefully south of here or west or somewhere else, they didn't get as much, and you can always go and grab some from there.
And quite a few people visiting Dussel's today with their wagons full of pumpkins, and I've got to say, it was nice to see shoppers excited and in high spirits. For TV2 News, I'm Erin Sullivan.
Thanks, Erin. Well, pumpkins or not, the Manaway Autumn Festival will be taking place on November 4th at the Manaway Historic Center School from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The event includes DJ Lily Jade, face painting, touch a truck, prizes, food trucks, and attendees can donate canned foods for the Four Seas Food Pantry in Manaway and get a chance to win in a raffle. Sponsors and organizers are asking for members to pre-register their children for attendance purposes.
The League of Women Voters created a voter guide for this season's upcoming election. The Record Courier published this guide explaining statewide issues involving abortion and recreational marijuana. This also includes the early voting schedule, frequently asked questions, and information regarding candidate information. Just a reminder, the polls will be open from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. on November 7th.
Another option to learn more, the Ohio Debate Commission, the Columbus Dispatch, the Cincinnati Enquirer, and Spectrum have created a forum on State Issue 1. The forum will be available starting today through Election Day and will air repeatedly on Spectrum 1. Ohio is the only state voting on abortion access this year, and the forum was created to explain the issue and answer questions submitted by voters ahead of Election Day.
Also on November 7th, Ohio voters will choose whether or not people 21 and older can buy, possess, and grow marijuana. If this issue labeled under Issue 2 passes, many players in the cannabis market may heavily benefit from this proposition. The Division of Cannabis Control would also have 9 months to distribute the first adult use licenses to companies already in the state's medical program.
Good afternoon, Kent State and Portage County. As always, I'm Nicholas Keller with your Monday weather forecast. Let's jump right in with currently in Kent. We have 52 degrees, but it's feeling like 50 with a dew point of 47 degrees. Wind is going north-northwest at around 8 miles per hour. Humidity is at 82% and the visibility is at 10 miles. Tomorrow we're going to have temperatures of 56 degrees. It's going to be partly cloudy skies. Wind is going to be going southwest at around 2 miles per hour. And the sunset's going to be at 6:41 p.m. Now for our hour-by-hour forecast. 8 p.m. tonight, we're going to have cloudy skies. It's going to be 50 degrees, cooler as it always has been. Midnight, we're going to have more cloudy skies, 48 degrees. And 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, we're going to have partly cloudy skies at 45 degrees. That's all I have for now, but be sure to stick around for the rest of your Monday forecast.
Nicholas, the Kent State LGBTQ+ Center and Main Street Kent hosted the Rainbow Weekend this weekend.
Yeah, and our own Joe Malbin visited downtown and can tell us about all there is to know. Hey, Joe.
Thanks, guys. This last weekend, Kent put on their 3rd annual Rainbow Weekend in support of LGBTQ+ students. The event celebrates LGBTQ+ month and hopes to bring awareness to the community. On Friday, events included friendship bracelet making, a tie-dye workshop, and a Rainbow Film Festival at Kent's Free Library. Kent State hosted its 8th annual Rainbow Run. Many people in the community participated in the event. The run was coordinated by Kent State's LGBTQ+ Center in order to raise funds for the university's LGBTQ+ Emergency Fund. Other events over the weekend included a trans advocacy panel hosted by the Kent Free Library. Speakers James Knapp and Madeline Smith spoke on issues such as recent restrictive legislation affecting the trans community. The speakers want to bring awareness to issues facing the trans community and encourage discussions about trans rights. Many businesses also showed their support for Rainbow Weekend, with some having sales. Kent Sportswear offered Pride-themed t-shirts, Popped offered rainbow treats, and Grazers donated money to the Trevor Project and KSU LGBTQ+ Emergency Fund. Reporting on all things weekend, I have been Joe Malbin. Back to you guys at the news desk.
Thanks, Joe. Well, Brightview's Kent Addiction Treatment Center is hosting a community cookout and resource fair with MedMark and Community Medical Services tomorrow from 4 to 6 p.m. More than 30 Brightview community partners will be in attendance, and these community partners make contributions to the fight against substance use disorder through recovery, peer support, employment, areas of transportation, housing, pregnancy and breastfeeding, and staffing.
We have 5 more days until Kent State's homecoming weekend. While there is the classic homecoming game on Saturday, there are many events leading up to this weekend. There will be the homecoming kickoff Friday night, which involves fireworks downtown Kent, the homecoming parade on East Main Street near the Rock, and the Kiss on the K, where Kent State couples can celebrate the place that brought them together by sharing a kiss on the K in the Risman Plaza.
Threats have risen since the Hamas attacks started in Israel, what it means for the U.S., and what groups are being targeted.
And some eyebrow-raising concerns on how much the U.S. economy is paying for the wildfires year after year. More on this after the break.
County.
Welcome back. It's been a week since Israel declared the war against Palestine, and the United States keeps taking action.
Our correspondent Tyler Schloser has more on the latest development. Hi, Tyler.
Hey, you guys. Regarding the Israel-Palestine war, Israel is currently preparing for a potential second front versus Hezbollah, a Palestine-supporting Lebanese militia. CNN's Matthew Chance has more.
They're bracing for a dangerous second front. But we gain exclusive access to Israel's tense northern frontier.
Well, the Israeli army have now sealed off as a security zone some of the areas close to the Lebanese border because of the threat being posed, but they're taking us now to the closest period, the closest place they can do that they say is safe, to see the lay of the land.
And that land is hostile. None of the Israeli soldiers here wanted their faces shown to hide their identities from Hezbollah, the powerful Lebanese militia with a vast arsenal trained on these positions from across the border.
We're ready. If they choose to come, they'll make a huge mistake.
War with Hezbollah would be brutal, said this senior Israeli commander, who asked not to be identified. But it is now also necessary, he told me.
Do you believe there will be a second front open here, or are you hopeful still that Hezbollah will stay out of this war?
I hope there will be another front. We need to destroy Hezbollah.
You hope there will be another front?
Yes.
You want the war?
Yes.
Why?
What Hamas did in Gaza, it didn't come from nowhere. It came from Hezbollah, it came from Iran. And in order for us to stop what happened from Hamas, we need to stop them also.
All right, well, this is as close as the Israeli military say we can go. Just across there is territory of Lebanon controlled by Hezbollah, the Lebanese militia. And Israeli soldiers in this position in Israel tell us that over the past few days there have been multiple attempts by Hezbollah fighters to penetrate the fence and to come into Israel, but they've been fought back. If there is going to be a second front in this war in Israel, the likelihood is it's going to start here.
Already there have been exchanges of fire, forcing local Israelis to flee, terrified what happened in Israel's south could happen here too.
A terrorist attack at this scale has never happened, and I'm scared that I live on the border. What's to stop them from doing it here? And I want to be strong and I want to come back and live here, but I need to think about my kids first.
Back from the border, Israel is bolstering its forces, with some of the 360,000 troops mobilized after the Hamas attacks last week. If war in the north is coming, Israel seems ready, even bristling to fight. Matthew Chance, CNN, Northern Israel.
This war is only growing in intensity as Israel continuously claims it must defend itself from the recent attacks on its civilians, and Hamas claims it must defend itself from decades of oppression from Israel. Due to the dangerous conditions in Israel, the U.S. has taken action to assist its civilians who are trapped there. Earlier today, a cruise ship left Haifa, Israel, loaded with U.S. evacuees and their immediate families. It is now on its way to Cyprus, where its passengers will have to find their own way forward. The Biden administration has begun chartering passenger aircraft for the same purpose. Back at home, American citizens are passionately reacting to the events overseas, which shows a support for both nations. This past Saturday in Cincinnati, Ohio, Palestinian American citizens and their allies rallied together in support of Palestine. Meanwhile, last Monday, citizens in New York had their annual Fall Fest, wherein members of the Jewish community gathered to support their nation of Israel overseas. 11-year-old Benjamin Elkin even broke out his arts and crafts skills to hand-make cards that will be sent to other young children in Israel. And that's it for tonight's international and national news. From KSU's TV2 News, I'm Tyler Schloser, signing off.
Well, thank you, Tyler. FBI Director Christopher Wray says the agency has seen an increase in reported threats in the U.S. following the Hamas attack on Israel. Another FBI official says Muslim and Jewish institutions have specifically been targeted, but most threats have not been deemed credible. Wray also mentioned the agency is continuing to help Americans in Israel who've been impacted by the war. Over 24 Americans have been killed and 15 are still unaccounted for.
A 6-year-old was stabbed into death about 40 miles outside of Chicago. 71-year-old Joseph Shuba has been charged with murdering a 6-year-old and stabbing her mother because they were Muslim. Investigators say they received a call from a woman saying that her landlord attacked her, and police said Shuba stabbed her 26 times. The U.S. Justice Department opened a federal hate crime investigation, and President Biden said he and the First Lady are shocked and sickened by this attack.
A new congressional report suggests wildfires could be costing the U.S. economy $893 billion each year. That's more than double what was previously thought from the Trump administration.
In a new report, the Joint Economic Committee looked at a wide range of costs beyond immediate wildfire damage. The report also estimates real estate has suffered anywhere from $67 to $337 billion a year due to wildfires.
And now going into our local weather, Nicholas Keller has more. Nick?
Thanks, guys. Welcome back to TV2's first forecast, so you stay informed before the storm. We're going to jump right back in with currently in Northeast Ohio. In Sandusky, we have higher temperatures of 82. Mansfield, we have temperatures of 51. Worcester is 54. 56 degrees in Cleveland. 55 degrees in Ashtabula. 52 degrees in Kent. 53 degrees in Canton and 55 degrees in Youngstown. Currently statewide, we have 53 degrees in Akron, 52 degrees in Steubenville, 53 in Athens, 53 in Columbus, 55 in Lima, 54 in Dayton, and 55 in Cincinnati. Now for our 7-day forecast. Tuesday, we have a high of 61 and a low of 43 with partly cloudy skies. Wednesday, we have high of 67, low of 54 with more partly cloudy skies. Thursday, we have a high of 65 degrees with a low of 50. Friday, we're going to have some more rain, AM showers with PM clouds. We're going to have a high of 62 and a low of 42. Going into the weekend on Saturday, we have partly cloudy skies with a high of 60 and a low of 40. Sunday, we have sunshine and clouds mixed, high of 62, low of 40. And Monday, we're going to start warming up a little bit more. It's going to be high of 65, low of 44 with partly cloudy skies. Unfortunately, that's all I have for you today, but make sure to check back next Monday. For the Franklin Hall studio, I've been Nicholas Keller. Stay groovy, Portage County. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Nicholas. Ford Motor Executive Chair Bill Ford asked UAW members to work with the company in reaching an agreement on Monday. Ford warned that the ongoing strike by the United Auto Workers threatens the future livelihood of the company as well as the American automotive industry. Last week, Ford said it was at the limit of what it can offer and the UAW in terms of economic concessions.
Now, and I call on my great UAW colleagues, some of whom I've known for decades. Many are close personal friends. We need to come together to bring an end to this acrimonious round of talks. I still believe in a bright future, one that we can build together. I still believe the automobile industry is a major force for good in our country. And we will continue to be there when America needs us most.
Last year, federal wildland firefighters received a temporary pay bump of either $20,000 a year or 50% of their base salary, whichever was lower. However, that temporary supplement is expected to run out around the beginning of next month. A Colorado congressman has introduced bipartisan legislation that would make payment raises permanent, but it is currently stalled due to the House still without a speaker.
Talking about the House speakership, Republican Representative Jim Jordan is pushing to be the next Speaker of the House and is hoping to succeed the recently ousted Kevin McCarthy. The Republican conference nominated Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio for Speaker last week. However, numerous GOP sources said dozens of House Republicans will vote no for Jordan. To become Speaker of the House, a nominee has to secure the majority of the full House, which is 217 votes, and any Republican can only lose 4 votes. The House is expected to hold a vote for House Speaker tomorrow.
Well, could the Browns shock the NFL world yesterday, or did the 49ers dominate as expected? Find out next on TV2 Sports.
Dolly will be working 9 to 5 this Thanksgiving. Find out when and why she's performing on a football game this after the break.
End of their season, and the Browns pull off the most shocking NFL upset of the season. So let's get the ball rolling on sports. The Kent women's soccer team dropped a close one to Northern Illinois on Sunday. The nasty weather brought out a low-scoring affair, with a final of 2-1 from the home field of Dick's Stadium. Julia Giovinazzi was the lone scorer for Kent, as Kent managed a goal in the second period, but that was the end of the offense for the Flashes. The ladies will host their final regular season home game at Dick's Field this coming Thursday, where they look to push towards the playoffs, as postseason will just begin in 10 days. Now heading over to golf, the Quail Valley Invitational wrapped up play yesterday, and while Kent has been accustomed to top 5 finishes, this was not the team's best showing. The Flashes finished 8th as a team, however, and Jordan Gilkinson did his thing and finished 9th individually. Top finishes for the tournament include Indiana University at 3, University of Toledo at 2, and USF, the University of Southern Florida, with a score -38 to win the tournament. And now we go on to the Browns versus the Niners, and it was the game where no one gave the Browns a shot. But here you see 10-0 trailing in the first half. Kareem Hunt scores that one from beyond the 10-yard line in maybe the spirit of Nick Chubb, perhaps. Who's to say? Now, it's Purdy here, and this was Purdy's probably worst NFL game of his entire career. You see the interception there to Martin Emerson, and that really got things going for the Browns in the second half. Tie game, but now they have the ball, and that's going to set them up for a field goal that they were able to hit and take the lead. But there, you see Jordan Mason getting the rushing touchdown for the 49ers, maybe drawing things a little bit far for that stagnant Cleveland offense that was struggling all day. But a field goal there on the opposing drive for the Browns, and they take the lead. It's just by 2. It's 19-17. Tensions are high, but the kick, blowing, it goes right, and the Browns are able to sneak out with a victory. Unbelievable there as that #1 defense in the league shows up time and time again and dominates perhaps the best team in the entire NFL. Well, heading into Monday Night Football, we have an exciting matchup that could prove to be a shootout. At least that's the mantra I'm going with. Chargers heading into this one as a team that loves to throw the ball deep. They also get star running back Austin Eckler back from injury. However, the Chargers defense is of the worst in the league, and yet on the opposition, Dak Prescott, he has not performed well as of recent. Dallas still has a stout defense most of the time and a notable run game, but I expect Prescott to be far from perfect in prime time. I'm taking Chargers 41, Cowboys 38. Well, promise ahead for the Browns as we see there, and Deshaun Watson looking to return next week from injury. We shall see. Now is when we start to look at that schedule and get excited for the future of this football team. A lot of fun sports to look forward to in the future, but until then, for TV2 Sports, I'm Pat Sartor.
Well, thank you, Pat. And now, imagine winning $2.5 million off of one lottery ticket. That happened to an Alabama man this morning. We'll tell you where it happened later on.
Well, Dolly Parton is pitching in to help the Salvation Army this Thanksgiving. The country music legend will be performing at halftime of the Dallas Cowboys-Washington Commanders game. It's part of the Salvation Army's Red Kettle Kickoffs fundraiser. Parton will ring the traditional Salvation Army holiday bell to jumpstart the holiday giving season. Cowboy fans are also hoping her performance will help them overcome a run of bad luck. Last year's performance by the Jonas Brothers lifted them to a 7-2 record when big stars perform at halftime.
Alabama resident Gary Thomas won big in the lottery this morning off of a scratch-off ticket sold at a discount store in Campbellton, Florida. Thomas paid only $5 to win a total of $2,440,000. He could have opted for $150,000 a year for life, but decided to go with the giant lump sum payment. He said he couldn't believe, and, quote, it's still sinking in. I have no idea what I would do with that amount of money. I have no idea. I would be shell-shocked.
Me neither, but I would have chose to get the money each year instead of getting it like all.
Yeah, that's true. You kind of have like a little, it's like a little membership type of thing.
Yeah.
I kind of would have liked that, but at the same time, I understand why he took the big lump sum payment.
Makes sense, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense for me.
I mean, that's all you, man.
Well, that's all the time we have for you today at 6. Thank you so much for joining us.
And make sure to follow TV2 News on social media at KentWire to stay up to date with the latest. I'm Dom O'Brien.
And I'm Nuried. Have a great night, Portage County.